Good morning, my beautiful family. I am here on a gorgeous day. I'm actually smelling a little bit of rosemary. Rosemary is good for so many things, so I like to, on a nice day, come out and look at my beautiful garden. I'm looking at the little hummingbird. Oh, it's making an appearance. Anyways, I come out here and just enjoy the day, because we wake up and that's a blessing, that's a gift. Not everybody woke up, right? And I like to smell my herbs, especially rosemary. Rosemary is good for memory, so every herb is for something. But anyways, oh, there's the hummingbird again. Hummingbirds actually mean messengers of God. They're native for the Americas, and the ancient people used to say that they were messengers of God because everything's a vibration, and they vibrate higher as their wings go so fast, so they're closer to the celeste. Anyways, this video is not about that. Actually, I wanted to come up on here because there's a video that I made a year and a half ago. It's been making some noise on social media. It's everywhere right now, and of course it's about, you know, it's about the Playboy Mansion, it's about Hugh Hefner, it's about Jeffrey Epstein, it's about how everything has worked for a while, and it's making a lot of noise. You know, like what I used to say, sex sells, and when they have any type of involvement like that, it catches your attention. So anyways, it's about the Playboy Mansion, but about all of these things. The Playboy Mansion was just one of the things that I saw. So this is part two. I wanted to clarify a couple of things, because there's some people that have come on there and they have said, well, Hugh Hefner's an amazing person and he helped so many people, and you know, and he did. He helped many people that had nowhere to go. He opened their doors. Marilyn Monroe came from a foster home. She was in the system, and she was a runaway, and he helped her become who she was, this person that actually had to do with the President of the United States. Now you got to understand, he did help a lot of people, and he broke a lot of barriers for everybody in the world. So he came here with a purpose, like all of us, and he followed his heart, and he did that. He was riding the wave. He meant well. He built his own reality. He had multiple women around him that slept with him on a daily basis, and that was accepted because he was Hugh Hefner and they were his girlfriends, and it was okay because he was the one with the, you know, that first magazine to put, you know, women with very little clothes. Back in those days, you didn't do that, right? It was just very rare. It happened, but it wasn't shown. So he was kind of bringing it to the light. He started with, I believe, doing like cartoons, you know. He was an editor. He had a magazine prior to this. So he was in the military. He had a wife, kids. He did everything with passion, and he went all the way. So I'm not saying he's a bad man. I'm just telling you what he did. And he did ride the wave, just like Epstein, but in a different way. We're talking about two different times. We're talking about over 50 years, like 70 years, right, in difference of when they started. So maybe when Hugh Hefner started, he wasn't doing anything against the law, by far. He had women that wanted to be there. I don't know of any of them that were underage. I don't know how old Marilyn Monroe was when she got there, but when she did the magazine, she was over 18. So he wasn't doing anything that was wrong in the looks of the world. He was just riding the wave. He would have these parties. He would invite it, though everybody that was somebody, to promote his magazine, to help these women, to be able to have this money to help these women, right? To help himself, to provide for his family. And these A-listers, of course, or all these people that were important in the world were showing up, and there were these beautiful women. So a lot of them had affairs there. A lot of them connected there. And Hugh Hefner was smart. I'm sure he recorded everything. And not only in the cameras, but in his mind with everybody else seeing what they were doing, because everybody's very open in these parties. Everybody just stays quiet, right? I'm not gonna say that I saw you kissing that person even though you're married, because I don't want you to tell, so-and-so that I'm doing what I'm doing. It was that kind of scene. And I'm not talking about me directly, because again, I was no one in this party. I was just one of the many random, attractive females that were invited. Again, I was there doing my business. I was benefiting from this, right? I was promoting my bail bonds. But I was also there with a mindset of a business, just like Hugh Hefner was, right? So I didn't get distracted by the sideshow. I was there enjoying everything. I mean, especially the food. The food just, I keep talking about the food, but the food was amazing. It was just like everything you can eat and more. And every alcohol you can think of. Back then I used to like to sip on some Patron Platinum. Those bottles, I mean, they can go in the club for a couple of $1,000s. They had those bottles. I was impressed. I was, I was still drawn about, I was in survival mode, so I was chasing the money. So, again, this was in the early 2000s. But I was able to see a lot of things, and now reflecting, there was nothing that was illegal other maybe than, people maybe were under the influence and there was things passed around, but that's just like in any party, right? If you go anywhere in Hollywood, people are doing drugs. It's up to you if you participate. Now I can identify it. It wasn't out in the open. I said it in the last video. There was rooms where people would go. The one particular man that I saw that he would constantly go back into that room is that porn star. I mean, it was obvious. What was his name? He just got arrested for doing some horrible stuff. What is his name? I can't think of his name. He was a very famous porn star, and he was constantly taking women back there. And I took a picture with him, I remember. And he's like, "You want to go into the room?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good, But yeah, it was just, it was a free-for-all. And, but everybody was a willing party. Nobody was doing anything against their will. Now fast forward to 70 years, all these people that have a free-for-all, they start to desensitize, right? So then just women in general and drugs and alcohol is not enough. Now fast forward to 70, where are we at, right? There's people that at what Epstein was bringing to the table was illegal, even in the society that accepts so much. Young girls from around the world, he was bringing them to his island, inviting all these people. He was doing the same thing Hugh Hefner, but fast forward 70 years, horrendous, right? Because they got away with so much. It's like, what's next? They get tired of that, and it keeps going and going and growing and growing and growing to the point that we know that there was torture involved, right? And mothers from around the world willing to sell their children for those acts. There was one documentary that was talking about Epstein's birthday, and one of his good friends, since Epstein had everything, the friend decided, okay, I'm going to go to France, find you two little 11-year-olds. He thought, because that's what he did. He found twins that were 11 years old, and the mom sold them for X amount of hours, days, or whatever it was. The mom knew what she was doing. The mom had no money for food. Supposedly, they would go to the poorest communities to pick up these girls, and they were willing. And so he brings these twins to Epstein for his birthday, leaves them there. Then the next day picks them up and takes them back to the mom in a private plane. That was his birthday present. And these were people that were doing that and so much more. This is fast forward because we allowed one thing. I talked about it in the first video. Things were accepted in society. Hugh Hefner wasn't doing anything that was against the law. I talked about young Brooke Shields being 10 or 11 years old on the magazine. Fully nude, fully makeup. Why? Because she was allowed to do a movie in the Blue Lagoon. She was completely naked. And then since that was accepted in the big film, right? Because of art and because of what it was sharing, that message of if you're by yourself, you guys got to watch the movie. But anyways, if that was accepted, it's kind of like a Tarzan movie. You know, you leave kids alone, what do? But anyways, since that was accepted, Hugh Hefner took it a little bit more, right? And who's accepting these contracts? The parent. Brooke Shields' mother was the one accepting these contracts because Brooke Shields was only 10 years old, 10, 11 years old, whatever she was. So now she's on the magazine. Now she has full makeup and looks like she's, from the face up, she looks like a grown woman, but she's a little girl and she's on a gentleman's magazine. So the main point about this video is, what do we do? That happened. This is where we're at. What do we do now? What's up to us to stop and stop living from the lower realms? Realize that they have done that to desensitize, knowing or unknowing, but it's a way of controlling. And controlling is not love. Lust is not love. I just did a video talking about the entanglement of energies when you have the communion of being one, when you actually make love. Now it's called sex, it's called intercourse, whatever you want to call it. But when you do that, you entangle all these energies that you carry. And that's, you could go back and look at that video. But getting back to where we're at, what can we do? It's up to us to make the difference. And then it's up to us to wake up every morning and be accountable and give ourselves to our higher self, to God, you know, because he's our father, he's our creator. You can call him whatever you want, the source, God. It is what it is. It is the one that created all. He is the one that created us in his image. So he's all powerful, and so are we. We think that with our actions, we can't do anything. That it doesn't matter, that we're too little, we're a little ant. Well, guess what? We're our creators. We duplicate. When we break out of the matrix and we are who we are for our true self, and it not matters everybody's opinion because I'm living my truth, when I do that and I break through and people see that, they break through. And they find themselves, not Nora, not me, which, yeah, they find a little Nora in them. And let me tell you why. Nora means light, aura in Hebrew. So they find their light. So they find their light, their own. And they realize that we're all connected, that we all feel, that we all love, we all want the same thing, but we've been so desensitized and asleep that we've forgotten. Now it's time to wake up. So on that note, sending you guys a lot of love. God bless. And one more thing. A year and a half ago, when I made the first video, I was very quick to judge, and I was very quick. But I was speaking truth, and I still speak truth. But there's always two ways of looking at things, right? And I choose to see the light and what can we do and what can we learn to move forward. And that's where we're at. So let's move forward.